Hello, welcome. Welcome to Homeless in Tucson, formerly homeless, Jennifer. Okay. The Homeless in Tucson is a video series of the Carlos G. Figueroa Foundation and Pan Left Productions. And we're moving into new areas today and hopefully in the future, in that we're going to be highlighting some people who were formerly homeless and is now successful in their own minds. All right. And the purpose for this is to present to those people who think that all homeless people are crack, alcoholic addicts, and ne'er-do-wells and worthless to society, because they need to know that a lot of people have been homeless, are now successful. Okay, they've got lives, they've got they're living lives just like you and me. Okay, and you need to know that people that you come in contact with in the bank, in the grocery store, walking down the street, okay, many of them have been homeless. So, but anyways, Homeless in Tucson is the name of the series. In this particular case, it's Homeless in Tucson, formerly homeless, Jennifer. This is the first one in this particular part of the series. But if you want to watch the rest of the Homeless in Tucson series, you can go to YouTube and search for Homeless in Tucson. I believe we have about 15 videos in that series. So, hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Ron. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my story with the mainstream society that's out there. I think it's important for healing, and I think that people need to hear what goes on behind the scenes in homelessness and how people that find themselves in that circumstance, how we cope with life and what it takes to overcome the challenges and to climb out of it.
Good, yes. And that's very important, you know what I'm saying? You know, that a lot of people have a lot of challenges. Most of us have the same challenges, but some of us have extremely hard, have to put a great deal of effort in order to get back to the mainstream. So, Jennifer, can you kind of give us a synopsis, so to say, of how you became homeless? Maybe you can start with your mainstream life and lead into that.
Sure. Okay. So first I have to say that I was a drug addict for quite a few years. So with that being said, back in 2002, I made a critical decision in my life, and that also involved my family, and my family and the people around me could no longer enable me or walk down the path that I was choosing to walk down. So with that being said, I made certain choices in my life, and that was the catapult to my homelessness. And I was chronically homeless from December 2002 to November 2012. So that was a long struggle, my journey. At first, it was a little bit deceiving. I didn't really realize the gravity of my situation because I had money, I had credit cards, and first I was able to support myself and put myself up in hotel rooms. And that quickly ended. And then the realization of the situation I was in came into play. And
so did you, okay, so at the first part you had credit cards, you did have some money,
yes.
And you was able to support yourself,
Yes.
But did you eventually go down?
Oh, I went down. I went way down. I think when I found myself on the streets literally with nothing, no money, no clothing, no food, no home. Uh, that's when survival instinct starts kicking in. And I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of. You go into survival mode in that situation, and, or I should say, I did. And I started befriending people that I never would have befriended, dangerous groups of people, to put a roof over my head. I stole clothing when I ran out of clothing, clean clothing. I had no way to keep anything clean. I would steal clothing. My justification for that was I would steal maybe articles of clothing from places that had donations, so forth.
So was you? So all this time you was a drug addict?
I was active drug user, correct. And I had there were times where I had no place to sleep, so I would make friends with the staff at all-night restaurants or Dunkin' Donuts and places like that, so I wouldn't be asked to leave. So I had somewhere that I felt I could be safe throughout the night. And I started, you come to a point, or I came to a point where I sold my soul. And then I sold myself. And I started that walk. And I started committing crimes. I don't know how.
So when you say that you sold yourself, you mean you were prostituting?
Yes, I started selling drugs first, and then I realized that it was, honestly, it was easier to sell my body than it was to sell my drugs. And so I did prostitution. I was doing that for quite a few years, to be honest with you. Yes.
So what? How did you get away from the drugs? How did you get back into the mainstream?
Okay. So initially, what prompted that was, gosh, it was a matter of everything, really. I couldn't stand my life, and I had no way, no clarity. I had no idea how to climb out of it anymore. And I thought I had this great idea one time that I was going to commit this one particular crime, and that the money I was going to make doing this was going to enable me to escape an abusive relationship I was in, move away, get an ID, get a job, and get housing, and crawl out of the hole. And it doesn't work like that. It didn't work like that. I did commit some crimes and was promptly arrested for these. So I find myself now in 2009 in jail, and knew I was going to go to prison. And at that point in time, I became very aware of the life I had led up until that point, and started questioning myself as to what kind of person I was, and what did I want from life now? What did I want from myself? How did I see myself living the rest of my life? And I just knew that I never wanted to be the person I was up till that point. So I think for me, it became imperative that I had to make a final decision. It's an internal decision a person needs to make. And you have to say, that is it. That's enough. I'm done. I will do whatever it takes, no matter what it is, regardless of who asks me to do what, to recreate myself, to recreate my life, and to climb up from where I'm at, and to make the changes I need to make to become the person that I want to become. And so that started that journey, and I initiated that on my own, I would say, while I was incarcerated. I knew when I was released that I had nowhere to go. And let me clarify this for the public as well, is that when you're incarcerated, um, that is not considered that you have shelter. You are homeless. You are still chronically homeless. I had nowhere to be when I was released, and I had um, because I had made the decision to excise my lifestyle and the people I knew, I had no support, so to speak, initially. So what I did for myself was I sought out resources, and they are available. However, they require effort on the person's part that's wanting to utilize them. And again, it's a difficult struggle. You have to be willing to do anything and everything that they ask of you to become, to make these steps necessary in your life to become somewhat successful. And these programs that are in place, these resources, they are not set up for us to fail. Okay. So again, I used some resources. I put myself in transitional housing up in the Phoenix area, and then I left and came back to Tucson, and I put myself in another transitional facility. And during that time, I signed up to work to get involved in an employment service out here, something that would help me reintegrate back into society. And part of that journey was that my job became looking for a job. And I can tell you that, what I had difficulty with initially was looking people in the eye was very difficult for me at first. I found that I wanted to put my head down, look away. When I walked, I looked down at the ground. I was so used to being invisible when I was out there and feeling so ashamed of myself. When I was out on the streets, I felt awful. You feel like you're worthless. You lose all sense of dignity. You lose your whole identity. And you feel like you're invisible. And so I was really uncomfortable with people interacting. My social skills were shot. I didn't even know how to be social anymore or to carry on a casual conversation with anybody.
So
I feel like I'm successful. I think the mainstream society would look at me from the outside in and say, oh, sure, there's a person that you wouldn't even look at me and wouldn't even guess my background. They would look at me and say, oh, there's a productive person in society, a person that works and volunteers, and she's the epitome of what society considers acceptable. However, that's all nice and good on the outside, but for me, this video prompted me to question, what do I consider success? How do I see myself? And I have to tell you that I think a measure of success is personalized. It's very personal for the individual. For me, my measure of success is not how much money I make. It's not material possessions or any of that. For me, it's I get up every day and I know that people can count on me. I become a person of integrity. I'm a person of my word now. I have become a person that people can trust. I can trust myself. I can look at myself in the eye and I know that no matter what happens now, myself, and I know what it takes to come from nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing. I know the struggle that it takes. And I want to let anybody out there that sees this, if you're currently in that situation, I hope, my biggest hope in doing this is that I want to give the gift of inspiration to someone out there. I want to let you know you are not alone. You don't have to be alone anymore. You can do this. It is the most difficult choice and path you will ever walk. But you will never have to go backwards again. You don't have to.
I mean, you have a job, you got a nice apartment.
I do.
Okay. You got a life.
I do.
Okay. How long has it been?
Let's see. In November 2012 was the first apartment I got on my own. And it is now August of 2016. So almost 4 years where I would consider myself self-sufficient and not homeless any longer, and moving forward in my life. Yeah.
And you have now this beautiful apartment, okay? Really beautiful. And obviously you showed your personality in laying out all the accoutrements of it. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there you have it, okay? Jennifer's story is not unlike many other stories out there, okay? People who were homeless and who are now stabilized and feeling that they have become successful. They have reached some of their goals. Obviously, Jennifer has reached some of hers, and she's probably still reaching for more. And, so therefore, no, every homeless person that you come in contact with is not an alcoholic, is not a drug addict, okay, is not worthless to society, okay? If you go to Homeless in Tucson, you can see there is one particular video there called the Bright Eyes Project, where where Sylvia Sanders, who is sponsored by the Carlos G. Figueroa Foundation, has given cameras to homeless people. And the photos that they took were phenomenal, were as if they were taken by people that were trained in photography. Can you imagine in your mind's eye, homeless people that are out there in the street, sleeping in cardboard boxes, sleeping in the canals and the under trees and stuff like that? Can you imagine some of them might have a cure for cancer, okay? One of them might be another Einstein, okay? Many of them could possibly have some sort of contribution to society as we know it, okay? But you need to give them the opportunity. You need to give them the opportunity to become whomever they choose to become, so they can give back to you and me. Anyway, so this has been Homeless in Tucson. If you want to watch the rest of the Homeless in Tucson series, go to YouTube or Google and search for Homeless in Tucson. Thank you for watching. I'm Ron Austin. Thank you. Goodbye.